Alright, we're gonna get straight to it, man. What happened to the Boricuas in Borinquen, which is now they call it Puerto Rico? That we know it got colonized by the Spaniards. That's why they speak Spanish in Puerto Rico and they don't speak Arawak like they used to when it was called Borinquen. So I got this picture up just to show you a little glimpse of what they was teaching us in school, pretty much. So I've seen this picture 1,000 times, so that's why I had to put it up as the first picture. Because this shows Christopher Columbus showing up at shores and us bowing down like they gods or something. Definitely in history, we bow down to the Europeans as gods. Actually, it was the opposite. So, let me, so, okay, right here, this is a link to a YouTube basically saying the name of Puerto Rico in the national anthem. Matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to just go ahead and pull it up. That way, we can open up with the national anthem. I'll just do this.
La tierra de Borinquen, donde he nacido yo, es un jardín florido de mágico primor.
Alright, look, I gotta pause it to go back. Y'all probably missed it, or you probably got it, and you wanted to hear the rest of the song. But look, all you gotta do is just go to National Anthem of Puerto Rico, and it'll tell you. But let me go back real quick. Check this out.
La tierra de Borinquen, donde he nacido yo.
That's it. That part right there give me goosebumps. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Just that little part right there give me goosebumps. La tierra de Borinquen, donde he nacido yo. The land of Borinquen, where I was born. So why is we calling this Puerto Rico? This is what I don't understand. Like, real deal, I do not understand this. So I went on a couple, sites in the web, and I want to know. I wanted to know, because I already know. I want to see what AI has to say about the Tainos of Borinquen, because you know how AI is supposed to know everything and it's supposed to be connected to all the servers in the world or whatever, or something like that, or to the web. So I asked AI maybe multiple questions in one. Where did the Tainos of Borinquen go, and what was their language? And why is the island called Puerto Rico and the people of the island speak Spanish? So this is what the AI wrote back to me. It said, Tainos of Borinquen were indigenous. I don't know if I'm saying that word right. I always get that word wrong. The Tainos of Borinquen were the indigenous people of Puerto Rico. Unfortunately, due to colonization and disease, unfortunately, we got colonized and got spread with diseases. The Tainos were largely wiped out and their language is no longer spoken. The island is called Puerto Rico, which means rich port in Spanish because of the natural harbor. The people of the island speak Spanish because Puerto Rico was colonized by Spain in the 16th century and remained a Spanish colony until 1898 when it was ceded to the United States. Now, for those that don't know what the word ceded means, I went already and did some homework for you and pulled up the word seated. So seated means past. It's like past tense. Seated. The principle of giving up power or authority. He ceded control over a company to his brother. Okay. So basically, Spain. The AI is saying that Spain. It was colonized until 1898 when it was ceded to the United States. So basically, Spain and the United States were they brothers and sisters or something? Because according to what the definition of ceded means, they specifically use, not saying that, you have to necessarily give it to your brother. You can cede your company to somebody else. He ceded, you can, the company to somebody else, but they specifically use that word incoherent with a brother. So that, to me, Spain is the United States brother. Imagine that. And I just came up with that just now. What does the historian say about Tainos in the island of Borinquena? So, boom. What we got here? We got a video. Oh no, we don't. So this is from Britannica. It's a website called Britannica. So history of Puerto Rico. You see, here we go again with this Puerto Rico. It's not history of Puerto Rico. It's Borinquena. And I gotta stress that a lot because we never gave up. We fought. We never gave up. We never gave it up. So they ain't take nothing, and we still here. So, anyways, so check this out. So the following discussion focuses on Puerto Rican history from the European settlement, and that's another thing that pisses me off because why is they starting our history with the Spanish settlement, with the European settlement? That's what gets me. For the treatment of the island in the regional context, the first inhabitant of Puerto Rico were hunter-gatherers who reached the island more than 1,000 years before the arrival of the Spanish. Imagine that. So we've been there for over 1,000. We arrived there over 1,000 years ago. No, and it say. Okay, it say we. It said that we. Did it say we settled? They say they reached the island. Okay, over 1,000 years ago. Arawak Indians who developed the Taino culture. That's what they categorize us as Indians. Indians come from India. We know that. So they need to just stop playing with this wordology. And I probably just came up with a word, but hey, it probably is a word. Taino culture had also settled there by 1000 CE. So imagine that. So we're talking about 1,000 years before Common Era. So CE means Common Era. They don't put BCE because they're going to say, oh, before Christ. Well, hey, you want to say before Christ? Well, this was 1,000 years before Christ. We were in Puerto Rico, what they call now Puerto Rico. But we know is Borinquena. The clan-based Taino lived in small villages led by cacique or chief. They had limited knowledge on agriculture but grew such domesticated tropical crops and pineapples, cassavas and sweet potatoes, and supplement their diet with seafood. Now I ain't gonna say we did it, but I ain't gonna say we did, because I guarantee you 1,000 years BCE, before Common Era. Oh no, you know what? It say Common Era. It don't say BCE. So we gotta look at that. It say Common Era. What's Common Era? We need to look up common era real quick. We got to look up common era real quick. Man, boy, they don't want to show anything. Alright, boom. So I'm gonna use this as basic. So we know we're in 2023 today. 2023 years ago, the common. Okay, so the common era was in after the death of Christ, according to their concept. I don't even know whose concept this is. Common era is a secular equivalent of AD Anno Domini. So imagine that. So it ain't even after death. It's called Anno Domini. And imagine that. And look at this. I'm glad that they got this right here. Before Christ don't mean before Christ. It means before common era. They just took the E out so they can implement, So but we ain't finna go there. I'm sorry, we're not going to go there. Got that ghetto-ness coming out of me. So look at this chart real quick. Boom. BC means before common era or common era. Like CE means common era. They say BC means before Christ. But look at this. It says BC equals. I can't zoom in. But it says BCE equals. BC equals BCE. Which before Christ equals before common era. So it's not, oh, Lord, it just hit me. They don't say before Jesus Christ. They say before Christ. You gotta really pay attention to that. But we going too deep. I'm trying to stay on topic with this. So where I was getting to with this, let's say that the Taino culture had also set it there by 1000 CE. So then when we go back to this chart, 1000 CE, okay, so it was like when they reset the time after the death AD, Anno Domini, when they reset that time and shit just, y'all know what happened. They started conquering the whole world. They did it. All that Hitler, they did it. Hitler did it. He did. He's still alive. Conquered the whole world. Call that Hitlerians. Boom. So anyways, alright, let me go back to this. In the late 15th centuries, 20 to 50,000 Tainos lived in Puerto Rico, which they called Borinquena. The Tainos occasionally warded off attacks by the Caribs, neighbors from the islands to the south and east, including the Virgin Islands and Visca Islands. So that's why they call it the Caribbean. That's where they get the name Caribbeans from the Caribs, where they really were pirates. In 1943, sorry, because I'm a little dyslexic. In 1493, Christopher Columbus left Spain in a second voyage to the Indies with a large expedition of 17 ships, about 1,500 men. Now you see, this is where I stopped reading this crap. Whether it happened or whether it didn't happen, how they say it happened. That's when I stopped reading it, because it's not talking about what we were doing before they came. That's where I want to get to. What we were doing before the Spaniards came and colonized Puerto Rico, which is Borinquena. So that's a little bit about what historians say. They want to always start off where they conquer that. Anything before that, they don't want to talk about it. They want to erase it, wipe us out, kill us all with diseases. Alright, so this is I guess another AI question. I asked AI, I looked up on Google, and I seen what Wikipedia had to say. So, what is the Taino language, and what is the term Taino? The Taino language is an extinct Arawakan language that was spoken by the Taino people, who were the indigenous people of the Caribbean, including Puerto Rico, before the arrival of Europeans. The term Taino refers to the indigenous people who were inhabitants the Caribbean island before the arrival of Christopher Columbus. Why are they saying it twice? The Tainos people were skilled farmers, fishermen, and navigators. They had a rich culture that included art, music, and religion. Unfortunately, due to the colonization and disease, the Taino people were largely the Taino people and their language are no longer present in the Caribbean today. So that's what AI says, and I see how AI likes to repeat itself, so it can act like it's saying something. Though I ain't even gonna lie, that sounds like somebody. So this is what Google said. Google said the Tainos settled in Puerto Rico and quickly displaced or fused with the early indigenous groups. They were farmers and had more advanced culture than the earlier groups. In their Arawak language, Taino means good ones. You see, Google ain't even finna give you a straight drop. At least the AI gonna give you a little bit more than what Google giving you. Now let's see what Wikipedia got to say. Tainos is an extinct Arawakan language that was spoken by the Taino people of the Caribbean. At the time of Spanish contact, it was the most common language throughout the Caribbean. Classic Taino was the native language of the Taino tribe living in northern Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, and Turks and Caicos Island, and most of the Hispaniolas, and expanding into Cuba. The Kibini dialect is essentially unsettled, but colony sources suggested it was very similar to classic Taino and was spoken in the westmost area of Hispaniola, the Bahamas, Jamaica, and most of Cuba. So at least Wikipedia gonna give you some breakdown of some shit. You know, the language and what's up with the language and where the language come from and what is the language. What we spoke was Arawak. We didn't speak Spanish. We didn't speak English. We spoke Arawak. Boricua is not a Spanish name. Borinquen is not a Spanish name. Taino is not a Spanish name. Yale, Haven, Teachers Institute. Y'all know about Yale. Y'all heard about the college Yale, right? So this is what they got on the Tainos, and I got the link to the website where I found the source from. The Tainos are generally considered to be The Tainos are generally to be considered part of the Taino Arawak Indian who traveled from the Orinoco Amazon region of South America to Venezuela to the Caribbean islands. P game. This is Yale talking. They were not the first indigenous groups to arrive in Puerto Rico. The Archaics have arrived from Florida about 2,500 years ago. That's 2,500 years ago. The earlier group were fishermen and hunters and lived a nomadic life. The culture was simple and did not develop any art form or farming methods. About 1,700 years ago, the Tainos arrived. Us. Not saying that we the best of the world or nothing like that. I'm just saying, we ain't torturing, colonizing, and destroying people land, taking people land and shit. They navigated the Caribbean Sea on their canoes. They went to Jamaica, the Bahamas, Cuba, the Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico. Although peaceful and non-aggressive, they had to combat the fierce Caribs who attacked the Taino villages. Ironically, the region became known as the Caribbean. Ironically, named after these fierce Indians, the Tainos settled in Puerto Rico and quickly displaced or fused with their earlier indigenous groups. They were farmers and had more advanced culture than that of the earlier groups. In their Arawak language, Taino means good ones. Thus, when Columbus arrived in 1493, I said it right, they identified themselves as Taino, the good ones and gentle people. Imagine that. I heard a little story about why we so gentle, why we so peaceful. Don't get it twisted. That shit ain't, you know what I'm saying? We some soldiers. We some warriors. Don't get it twisted. The Boricuas are some warriors. Warriors. Check this out. So this the picture on my right. The picture on my right. You see how they? This is a more respectable, but still inadequate picture of what Tainos look like. But as you can see, at least they got us debating. It looked like they debating. Yo, listen, man, we ain't on our knees praying or like worshiping these people. You know what I'm saying? We like, yo, bro, hold up, bro. This our land right here. Y'all gotta tighten up. And if you can see this dude right here, this dude, I don't know if you can see this. You can see my mouse. If you see this dude right here, I don't. Yeah, you can't see my mouse. Okay, yeah, you can see my mouse. If you see this dude right here, he looks so sneaky, so sneaky. Look at her face. Look at his face. Look at his face. But this is a real picture of what Tainos look like to my left. Now I know I don't have that skin complexion. I know you might think I'm white, cause look at my skin complexion. I just got mixed in, you know what I'm saying? I got mixed in with the Europeans. But you know they say that the dominant gene is the Borinqueno gene. So that we're gonna get into a Borinqueno gene in a whole nother level. That's a whole nother story. I got a couple videos I want to show. So it said December 22nd, 1895. It appears to be undisputed that the flag was presented on December 22nd, 1985 at Chimney Hall in New York by Juan de Mata Telefote, a veteran of the Grito de Lares, to a group of 59 Puerto Rican exiles who comprised the Puerto Rican section of Cuban revolutionary. Imagine that, the Puerto Ricans and the Cubans working together since forever. But I wanted to show that to show this, because this right here is called the Señora flag, one of the oldest flags still used in Europe. The earliest attribute is to the tomb of Raymond Berengue II. Right? Now this flag got converted to this flag to the top. And then this is where you get the chevron and the lone star from the European Spanish colony. Okay, the blue chevron of the hoist takes the inspiration of the revolutionary flag of Cuba and Puerto Rico. Catalan has close ties to New World merchants who led revolts against the Spanish merchants. A combined with the lone white star, a flag supports Catalan independence and Republicans' ideas. But, like Like I was telling y'all, this is just how they implemented this flag, bro. This is not our flag. This is the flag of Taino, and I'm gonna get to. I have found another flag of the actual island. We had a flag of the actual island. It's the island with some animals on the side. It was, you know what I'm saying, pretty cool, but it's in cartoonish. So whoever made the flag could have made a better image of the flag so we can better represent it, because they cartoonized this stuff, so we really won't get a better understanding or get that effect from it when we look at these pictures or when we look at these flags and these symbols in these flags, because they represent a lot when you're looking at them. So this is the real Taino flag. The red standing for tribal blood spilled during the tragic years following European contact. As reflected by Maga, a red flower indigenous to the region. Green signifies Bibi Atabe or Mother Earth. Yellow is for Baba Gui, Father Sun, and indicates the reflection of rays of the sun, a symbol of great illumination and wisdom. So that's pretty much a little breakdown of what the colors mean. The element inside the moon circle do not represent a human face, just as the outer leaves do not represent sun rays. Now this is some like esoteric knowledge that not everybody know if you just not looking at this image. So when you're just not looking at this image, you're thinking that those rays, those feathers around the sun, around the bigger circle, is the sun rays. And it does look like a face for a minute when I first saw it until I read what it means. So let me go back. It said the element inside the moon circle do not represent a human face, just as the outer leaves do not represent sun rays. Rather, the three circle dots inside the moon circle are a reflection of water of the sacred mountain. Hence, the top of the mountain appears at the bottom in the reflection. The three elements that donate the sacred mountain symbolizes three spirits: Yaya at the summit, spirit of spirits, or the great spirit, or creator. The left circle dot, from the viewer's perspective, symbolizes the spirit of the living world, or Gois, while the circle dot on the right is the spirit of the ancestors, or Utopia. And I had read, don't mistake Utopia with the land of the dead, because they're not dead. Our ancestors are not dead. They said they lived through us. Boom, let's continue on. I ain't got time for the blockchain right now. What this was a link to the flag. So this website, I don't even know who owns this website, who put this website out. I think this is the community of East Central Borinquena, the Naguat community. So one time for the Naguat community for putting this up on the internet. It say Borinquen is the is in the Taino language means land of the valiant and noble lords. So that's what Borinquen or Boricua meant and represented. The land of the valiant and noble lords. That refers also to the great spirit or creator. It say that the Tainos or the Boricuas are descendants of 24 original tribe bands that settled in Puerto Rico. The ancestors are the Central American Indian and the Arawak Indians of South America who had migrated north in the early centuries of the second millennium and colonized the island of the Caribbeans, where the Tainos can be found today in Puerto Rico, Santo Domingo, Haiti, Jamaica, Cuba, Bahamas, and Florida. Imagine that. So I was born in Miami, Florida. So I'm in there, regardless if I wasn't born in Puerto Rico, you know what I'm saying? Or Borinquena. But see, that's that's really much all I needed to know. Y'all could get this website now. Y'all could definitely get this website. You could go to crwflags.com and you just look up the Taino flag. Look up the Taino flag. Look up the Taino flag. So bet. Alright. Boom. Go back to here. So if my Boricuas are watching, this message is directly to the Boricuas anywhere on the planet, because we got Puerto Ricans, Boricuas all over the world about this point. And we don't play about that. You know what I'm saying? We gonna spread. We not Puerto Ricans, we Boricuas, and know what Boricua means, know what it stands for, know why we here. You know what I'm saying? Know what we did. Try to do research on what the ancestors did before the colonization of Christopher Columbus or the Spaniards. You know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't just Christopher Columbus, it's a whole bunch of people colonized, a whole bunch of European colonized. How did they get that power to colonize? That's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother video that we can get into. But basically, know where you came from. Don't feed into the hype. You know what I'm saying? Don't feed into the hype. Don't just go with what you hear. Don't just go with what I hear. That's what I'm saying. Do some more research. Go beyond the colonization. What we were doing before we got colonized. Notice how I wasn't able to get any information. I probably, if I go searching deep enough, and you know what I'm saying, I should have did a little bit more research on what we did before. That might be another video. What we did before we got colonized, what we ate, how we lived, how we got married, you know, how we have fun, what we did for arts, because they say we was, you know, we was highly sophisticated in arts and crafts and all that, and dance and all that. So that's a whole nother video, a whole nother topic. They got us thinking that we wiped out. Yeah, the language might be wiped out, but we still here. The bloodline is still here, man. They can't just wipe us out, bro. It's crazy. But I'm gonna end it on that note. And hopefully y'all got something from this. If you didn't get something from this, you can probably do more research. Or hit me up. I'm gonna show you my email. My email. Just a viewer. Got that wrong. 369 gmail.com. So you can hit me up at justaviewer369 at gmail.com. If you feel like I could have brought better information or more information, and you are on that level that you know what I'm saying, hit me up. We can build.